Well, guys, welcome to our part 3 historical underpinning of Indian Constitution. We have discussed already part 2. Now, in this part 3, we'll discuss the some mission, some reports, which actually paved the way for the Constitution of Constituent Assembly. These, the reports, here the plans, which we are going to discuss today, are very important because these are important because tackling various obstacles. Um, Tackling communal violence, yeah, tackling a grief, tackling a huge sadness that pervaded throughout India caused by the partition. Finally, Indian Constitution Assembly has been formed. Finally, India got there in her own constitution. So, in 1940, August actually came. Why August came? Because there was a great victory of Hitler. Hitler was rising there, and British government was in a chance. British government needed help, needed support, so that she can challenge Hitler. Yeah, she can tackle Hitler. So at that moment, at such a moment, she needed the support of India actually. But India demanded a kind of independence from the British provinces. Though British did not transfer, yeah, did not say about complete independence, but British agreed up to some moment so that to form a constitution assembly, and that is also for the first time by the Indians, not totally Indians. First time throughout August first time it was said that mainly Indians would decide and mainly Indians would form their own constitution assembly. It is very important. For the first time actually it was said that Indians for the first time it was given to the Indians. Indians for the first time found their inherent right to form their own constitution assembly, but not totally Indians, mainly Indians. The constitution assembly would be by mainly Indians. Minority assistance was also there in August. So it was for the first time throughout August India got the inherent right to form a constitution assembly to decide their own constitution, where majority members will be Indians. Again, see, Cripps mission came in 1942. Again, what was the background of Cripps mission? That British was on the verge of win. She has been defeated at that time, and in the Southeast Asia. British at that time actually faced great defeat at Southeast Asia, and there was a possibility of Japanese attack to India, Japanese invasion. At that moment, British government needed support from Indian government. The same thing, Indian demanded self-independence, but British actually offered a kind of dominion status and constitution assembly here also. But the main difference between Augusta and Cripps mission is that it's Cripps mission, it was said that the clear idea to form constitution assembly by Indians. In Augusta it was said that then mainly Indians will form their own constitution. But Cripps mission it was said that the constitution assembly will be totally formed by the Indians, totally Indians, not majority mainly Indians. Matlab constitution assembly will be only Indian members. Right, again there will be Indian Union, safeguard to minority, and another important is the right to join Commonwealth. The India got the right to join Commonwealth and other United Nations organizations. These two was very important. So importance of Augusta and Cripps mission actually was very the impact of Cripps mission and Augusta was very important in building the bedrock of Indian Constitution, because throughout these two offers, actually two plans, India for the first time got the inherent right to form their own constitution assembly. After that, you will find there are various plans like Shimla plan, Wavell plan, Cabinet Mission, Indian Independence Act, and all these acts actually prevailed throughout a very depressing stage of communal violence, majority versus minority conflicts, and at last partition. So, though India got at last throughout finally by the independence of India in 1947, India got freedom, but India passed a very grief stage, very tense stage, swayed by communal difference, minority, majority, and partition, and that is why you can analyze that Indian, after a great debate, the Indian constitution makers were highly influenced by this phase, and at last they gave different provisions for protection of minority, for freedom of speech. Right. So these are important, especially Cripps mission and Augusto Foro is very important because for the first time, India got the inherent right to decide their own fate, to decide their own condition, to decide their own constitution, to form their own constitution. And finally, it was handed by Indian Independence Act 1947.